Hey guys, it's Big Tex here.
Wait, down here, yeah, all the way down here. Ryan Breadner, big dude, offensive lineman with the Huskies. We're gonna get inside his brain this week on Pizza Hut, Huskies All Access. Hello once again, welcome inside the studios to Pizza Hut, Huskies All Access. I'm Darren Dupont alongside the Outsiders, Dallas Carpenter and Tom Croker, as we welcome you back for another week after the bye week as the Huskies were in Manitoba taking on the Bisons. Had a lot of time to think about this one. You guys got one word before we get to the highlights, Tom?
Catastrophe.
Dallas?
Implosion.
Bisons at home at Investors Group Field in Winnipeg. The Huskies won the opener of the season series, and it was the season opener back at Griffith Stadium. Different story here, though. Burko handing off to Shane Buchanan. Ball's on the ground. The Bisons recover. It was that kind of a day for the Huskies. Now, Jordan Yance finding Matt Sawyer from 6 yards out. That's a touchdown. Bisons go up early, and then it's Jordan Yance. Yance having a big one early on, 189 yards passing. This time he runs it in from 8 yards out to extend the Bison's lead, but it's not all good for Jordan Yance in this one as Yance in the pocket, flushed out, running, and he gets clocked upstairs in the head. He's going to be down for several minutes. This is scary for the Manitoba Bisons, and he would be helped off the field. He would not return. Theo Dizar in a quarterback, and here's a bright spot for the Huskies. Mark Ingram with the interception. He sits second in the CIS with that one. It was a bright spot, but it wasn't enough. The Huskies add one late, a touchdown, their only major of the game. It came in the final 5 minutes. The Huskies dropped this one to the Bisons 41-8. Jordan Yance, 189 yards and a touchdown before being taken out of the game with the injury. Look at the total offense, 494 to 197.
Back inside the studio now, guys. It wasn't pretty, but time for your assessment of that game. The Huskies really didn't get it going in all of the three aspects of the game. Tom, we'll start with you and your thoughts.
Yeah, there really isn't anything good you could say about the game. They played poorly in all three phases of the game. On offense, they only had generated 11 first downs and 200 yards of offense. On the other side of the ball, the pass defense struggled, and in fact, the front seven didn't help them out much. They really couldn't pressure the quarterback and only generated one tackle for a loss. And then on special teams, my goodness, we had a punt returned for a touchdown, we had a punt blocked, and our returner had trouble fielding the ball cleanly. You know, and perhaps most inexplicably, this comes off a bye week where the Huskies had an extra 7 days to be prepared and ready.
Dallas, your assessment of this one?
Well, in the 20-plus years I've been watching Husky football, I think this was the only time I've ever seen them get dominated in this fashion. I mean, they set the tone right in their first offensive play, fumbling the ball away right in the Bison's red zone. It was really bad. It was there wasn't much else you could say about that. Even when Jordan Yance got knocked out of the game at the end of the second quarter, the Bisons still were able to put up 27 points that went unanswered until garbage time late in the game. So it was really disappointing to see this late in the season. So it's going to be tough for the Huskies to rebound from this and get ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, very tough, especially with the added time off on the bye week. We're through 6 games of the season now, so there's a chance to really get a feel for some of the statistics in the league. Tom, your assessment after six games?
There's some concerning statistics to look at from a Huskies perspective. On offense, we're last in total yardage in the conference, second last in passing yards per game and rushing yards per game, yards per passing attempt, last in the conference, yards per rush attempt, last in the conference. The Huskies are very good in the red zone, as good, maybe the best in the red zone in the conference. So credit to them there, and that's probably, when you look at the 4 wins we've got, maybe 1 or 2 of them might be directly related to that. On defense, we're just not generating a pass rush, as I said earlier, and second last in the conference in sacks. And the pass defense has been a problem for several years now, and we're struggling in that department as well.
Dallas, your comments on those statistics?
Well, I mean, the only statistics that are really positive at this point, other than the 4-2 record, which, as Brandon Crow from CK750 mentioned a few times, it's, not really indicative of how good this team is. The only thing that I would highlight is Denton Kolodziejski. He's been positive. I mean, he punted for over 500 yards the other night, and he still has a pretty darn good average. So right now, I mean, Denton's probably the MVP of the team, so that tells you something right there.
But on the bright side, they have found a way to 4 victories, a 4-2 record, and still, in my opinion, or possibly yours too, a win away from second place. Does that sound fair?
I think so. I think if we can pick up a win this Friday, I think we will finish second. If we don't, I think we're looking at starting to look at 4th place. Another concern coming out of this game was we thought we were in pretty good shape in terms of the point differential with Manitoba. We had, after a very impressive first week win, we had a 20-point positive differential against them, and we can kiss that goodbye now. So now we lose a tie-breaking scenario with Manitoba. Our victory, week 2 victory over Edmonton, Alberta, was only by 1 point. So that puts the tiebreaker scenario in jeopardy with them if we don't win this week. So we could go from last week, we were talking about how we looked really good for finishing second. We could slip, perhaps down to 4th.
Well, the Outsiders will be back a little bit later on in the program, and we'll go through the complete playoff picture and, of course, your keys to victory and this week's predictions. As we come back to Pizza Hut Huskies All Access, we'll head down to Griffith Stadium. We'll chat with head coach Brian Towers and a little bit more. Again, you're watching Pizza Hut Huskies All Access.
Pizza Hut Huskies All Access, proudly supported by Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut's great-tasting pizzas are the perfect addition to any game day. Order one of our delicious pizzas today. Pizza Hut, make it great!
Coach, let's start with 21st of October. When's the last time you remember wearing shorts at this time of the year?
We just talking about probably 1974. Just looking at the paper was the last time it was this warm, but we'll certainly take it. Anytime you can practice in shorts at this time of year, it's great.
The weather's been kind. Unfortunately, Friday wasn't that kind to the Huskies.
No, probably one of the most disappointing showings of this football team in a long time. We in the last couple of years anyways, we had a lot of passengers. We didn't respond the way we had to. We knew Manitoba were going to be fired up. They were playing desperate football and really outplayed us in all phases of the game.
What do you attribute that to? Is there anything from the 2-week break?
No, I don't know. It's just, it's hard. It happens at all levels of football. It happens to good teams. It happened to the 49ers last night. They ran into a hot team and a hot hand at quarterback and didn't have answers. And part of it is responding early and getting a break early. We had opportunities in the first quarter. We didn't take advantage, and that could have changed the whole complexion of the game.
So now you got to respond this week against Alberta.
We do, and they're an improving football team. Certainly playing with great desire, and that's so they're making up for a lot of things with their effort and their passion, and that's what we got to bring to the table. And if we do that, then all the other things of being at home should play in our favor. But we got to match that will and desire and physicality for sure, because that's the difference between now and what they were like last year.
How close are you to getting a couple guys back potentially from injury?
Well, Naring's going to practice, and as long as practice goes well, then he should be okay. But he's really the only one where you got a couple guys that are nursing things from last week. But we're going into Game 7, and every team is in the same boat.
But you're still in a pretty good spot at 4-2. 2 weeks to take care of business.
Absolutely, and we got to win. You got to win one out of the last 2. We'll get probably third, maybe second. You win them both, you'll get second, and that's. It's all in our own hands right now, and you scripted it at the start of the year that said this, we would have taken it, and we got to look after things now, and if we don't, then we don't deserve to be there anyways.
One more question. You said you got to look after things, and you're in a good spot, but what do you need to see from your team now in the final 2 weeks to be prepared to take on Calgary or teams in Canada West in the playoffs?
Well, we got to be prepared to take on everybody, because there's no easy weekends this year, and but what we really need is we got to really establish our passion to play and our hustle and our enthusiasm and really the love getting out and playing football and getting after people.
All right, Coach, good stuff. We'll leave it there.
Thanks.
Hey, we're inside the control room now, and you guys know the Huskies defensive lineman. Where's number 51? His name's Timi. What you don't know, and what many people don't know, is how to pronounce Timi's last name. It's been a problem. Well, this is a Pizza Hut Huskies All Access investigation. How do you pronounce Timi's last name, the defensive lineman?
I'm not even sure.
You know how to pronounce his last name?
Lots of vowels.
Oh, I did.
Shit. It's tough. It's
I'm drawing a blank.
Just give me one shot at it.
Agbaje.
Abba what?
Abaway or something. I can't.
Okay.
Agbaje.
That's a complete stab in the dark, though. I don't know if that's accurate. It might be.
I knew it at one point, and then I just forgot it, and I always struggle with it.
We usually just stick to Timi, I think.
Agbaje is what is the way we pronounce it, and I'm sure it's probably a little bit different than that.
It's Agbaje. Ag, then Baje.
Agbaje.
Yeah, it's rolling, it's great. Here comes the rush, and here comes the sack. Timi Agbaje with the sack.
Is anybody on the team get it right?
Actually, no one. Not even the people that announce the tackles up there. They say Tim Agbaje or Tim Bargi. I'm just like, get it right. It's been a year and a half now.
I always hear it. If I hear it, I'm like, yep, that's it. But I can never say it for some reason.
Oh man, there's been some good ones on TV and the radio. So
Give me one more try. Try and say it.
Timi Agbaje, the guilty party,
forces him back inside, and that allows Agbaje to get it all over him.
Abaway.
Well, talking with Brian Towers about Timi Agbaje, the one thing.
What's the craziest way you've heard it pronounced?
Agbaje. It's like it's Agbaje, but it's like Agbaje, and sometimes they don't even say it. Tim, number 51. And it's just like, whatever. I give up now.
That's great. So
I know I should know it by now, but I just.
there's been a lot of connotations, but I'm pretty sure it's Agbaje.
Got any message for the guys on TV, the guys on the radio, and the guys up in the booth?
It's Tim Agbaje. They can come see me. If they can't, then I'll help them out a couple minutes with it.
You know what? Get a shot of this for a second. I tell you this much. I wouldn't want to be pronouncing his name wrong. That's for sure. Thumbs up, Ed Carlton. Thank you, Timi Agbaje. Consider the case closed.
Pizza Hut's great-tasting pizzas are the perfect addition to any game day. Order one of our delicious pizzas today. Pizza Hut. Make it great.
We're here on campus at the University of Saskatchewan here, and the Huskies have an offensive lineman that's made his way to Saskatchewan all the way from Texas. This is my opportunity to sit down with offensive lineman Ryan Breadner in this week's Player Profile. We gave you a GoPro for a day.
Yes,
A chance to see a day in the life of Ryan Breadner. What are we going to see when we look through that camera? Because we haven't looked through it yet.
Well, you're going to see my normal daily routine for a busy day for me, and that includes for me waking up in the morning to going to class, to going to football practice, to just being with the guys and meeting them around campus, and everything far and in between, right?
So tell me about Ryan Breadner. Who's Ryan Breadner?
Ryan Breadner. I'm just a small town country kid from Texas, and I've been here for 3 years now. And my grandparents live in Edmonton, and that's how I got this opportunity, which is a great opportunity. I couldn't ask for anything more from Brian Towers for the Huskies. I was kind of a work in progress, I guess you could say. I played six-man in Texas.
Okay.
So I played a little bit of everything, a little bit of running back, a little bit of.
We're very familiar
lineman.
with six-man football in Saskatchewan.
Yes, and I think you guys invented it.
There you go.
But I gotta stay true to my Texas roots. I gotta say we perfected it.
So what brought, like you mentioned your grandparents in Edmonton. How did you come to the Huskies? How did that take place?
I was in Edmonton working out during Christmas for an off season, and it was my last year, my senior year, And there's this guy I met in the gym, and his name is Ryan David, and he was a good friend of Jason Souls, who was a receiver coach at the time. And he gave me a number, and I called them up, and I let them know that I existed, basically. And they gave me a call back a few months later, and they invited me up for a training camp. And I think I performed very well, knowing that I didn't know anything about offensive linemen. I didn't really know a stance. I didn't know the correct way to block. I just kind of threw myself into people at times. And that's how I got here. It's just kind of by chance, a little bit by luck.
So tell me then, if you didn't know some of those fundamentals of being an offensive lineman, what were you playing predominantly down in Texas?
Six-man offensive line is a little different. I would have to say I played more receiver than anything.
I know the program always says height and weight. What's your stats? How big are you?
I'm about 6'8", 325.
And how big were you in high school when you were playing a receiver?
6'7", 312 when I graduated.
Good Lord. And you're probably cracking back on a linebacker that could potentially be 5'8", 170? 175?
Give or take, yeah.
Yikes. In Texas, and what was your, was there one moment that you kind of said, this is what I want to do? I want to play football. And I want to do this more than just in high school?
My mom actually got me started on football, and I didn't grow up with a dad. She was mom and dad, and she was the person I would always go to, and she suggested I play football. Football is not just for the guys in Texas. The girls love football too. My mom's favorite player, whenever she was growing up, was the Fridge.
Yeah.
And she always joked that I ate so much she ought to called me the Fridge. But she gave me a nickname in high school, and I was known as Rhino because my name is Ryan. And that's from ever that moment, like when Mom kind of told me, she's like, you should play football, and we're gonna call you Rhino. That was the moment. I didn't even put on a helmet yet, and I knew I was going to play football.
Is that name, the Rhino, stuck? Is it stuck here in Canada?
It is not stuck here. I have actually transferred to Big Tex.
Big Tex?
Big Tex is now my new name, and I don't know if anybody really knows my real name up here. I don't think I've ever heard it used other than by a couple of key people.
What was your welcome to the CIS moment? Did you have one?
I did have a welcome to CIS moment, but it was more of a, it was kind of just like I was really nervous. It was the first game against Manitoba this year, and you're sitting there, and the coaches always tell you one thing, and it's like, it'll be fine after the first hit. And I'll remember this guy forever because first guy I went against. His name is Lauren Croker. He's 41 for the defensive end from Manitoba, and we both just kind of met in the middle and rung our bells. And it was, wow, it was a little scary at first until after that first hit, and then everything settled down and we just played football.
Okay, before we let you go, if we get a good shot of your face and your facial hair, obviously you got the big beard, rocking the facial hair, that's been a staple.
Oh yeah.
Are you familiar with Movember? Did you get accustomed to it? It's starting to make its way into the States a little bit more. Did you have any idea what it was?
I didn't know what Movember was. No, I thought Movember was like growing your mustache. I didn't know it was the whole thing. But
well, Movember, it is just the mustache.
Oh, is it?
It is just the mustache. But did you know what it was in Texas?
I did not. No. Unfortunately, I could not grow facial hair in high school. I tried. I counted like 12 hairs. I'm still getting there. It's far in between up in here, but the beard's coming in quite nice.
So are you gonna rock the mustache for the month of November?
Oh yeah. I'm not cutting this for a long time.
But are you getting rid of the beard?
No.
I can't do it, hey?
I can't do it. It's part of me now, and I would cry if I got rid of it.
Ryan, it's always been a pleasure. You're a breath of fresh air around here. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right.
Pizza Hut's great tasting pizzas are the perfect addition to any game day. Order one of our delicious pizzas today. Pizza Hut, make it great.
Back inside the studio now, here with the Outsiders. I'm Darren Dupont alongside the Outsiders, Dallas and Tom, as we get you set for this week's game as the Huskies at home getting set to take on Alberta. Guys, last week it was the big loss for the Huskies against Manitoba. Recapping the other week's scores, Calgary defeating Alberta 52-37. And in the other game, it was a tight one, UBC over Regina, 33-32. That all but eliminates Regina from postseason contention. But what does last week's games do to the playoff picture, Dallas?
Well, I mean, right now the Huskies are sitting, they could finish anywhere from 2nd to 5th, depending on what they do over the next couple of weeks here. I'm thinking likely they're going to finish, 2nd, and as Tom mentioned, probably 4th if they don't win out here. If they win the next game, they're going to virtually assure themselves of 2nd place. So this game coming up here against Alberta is a really important one, specifically because Alberta is right behind them at 3-3.
Yeah, Tom, your assessment of the playoff picture, that's right. If Alberta wins this game, that's pretty big for them and changes things up.
I agree with Dallas with everything he said, and I think if we want to get 2nd place, we want to get the win out of the way as soon as possible. Let's win this week. Let's beat a good up-and-coming Alberta team, make ourselves feel a little bit better going into the last week of the regular season in the playoffs. But I think the way Dallas sees it is spot on.
Yeah, and Alberta put up some points against Calgary too, so they're looking better and better as the season draws on. And you're right, if we lose this game against Alberta, if the Huskies lose, they would be in a position where they wouldn't own the tiebreaker against either Alberta or Manitoba, correct?
That's why I see us, if we don't win this week, I see us slipping to 4th.
All right, well, the Huskies, a big game against Alberta. That game on Saturday afternoon at 1:30. Time now to set this one up with your keys to victory. And we'll start with keys to victory in offense, Dallas.
Well, I think the first key, which is a pretty obvious one, is they have to get the running game going. What they're doing obviously isn't working. They didn't even get 50 yards in the game against Manitoba. And so they'll have to get more of these players that were working earlier in the season worked in. Where's Jarvis James? Where's Andre Lalonde? We haven't heard their names for a while, so hopefully they'll get a chance. They have to execute. We've been saying that all season long, and that took a dip in Manitoba for sure. So they have to, find open receivers and throw them the ball. The receivers have to catch the ball when it's in their hands. So if we see them improve there, that'll be a big benefit. And then they have to, stray from the formula maybe a little and go for some quarterback rollouts, maybe some option plays, something maybe done at halftime that will surprise their opponent a little, because I think the opponents know them pretty well at this point.
Yeah, that option play was good for 2 touchdowns against UBC only a few weeks ago. Time for keys to victory on defense and special teams, Tom.
Well, Husky fans are going to get to see a couple of electric receivers on Alberta's team when they come in this week. So our pass defense really needs to pick things up. We gave up over 400 yards through the air to them in the previous meeting. So I really think our front 7 needs to help out. We need to generate a pass rush here. Hopefully that will force them into some bad throws, maybe get us an interception or 2. We've got to slow down that passing attack. On special teams, our cover teams have to do a much better job. We gave up a couple of bigger returns to Alberta the first time we played them, but looking more recently, these last 2 weeks, we've allowed a return touchdown. We want to win this game. We need to win this game, and it'll be tough if we're allowing those kind of special teams plays.
Yeah, it was only 200 yards of offense against Manitoba and 500 yards allowed on defense. So those are your keys to victory on offense, defense, and special teams as the Huskies get set to take on Alberta again Saturday, 1:30 at Griffith Stadium. Now to move to this week's predictions. And we'll start with the game in Regina. It's Manitoba taking on Regina in Regina. That game's Saturday, 1:30. It's also the featured game across the network here on Shaw. So we'll start with Tom.
With the game last week, we focused on it from a Huskies perspective, but it was a very impressive performance from Manitoba. They looked really good, and I think Regina will give them a better game than we did, but I don't think they're going to stop Manitoba. Bisons by 10.
Dallas?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think the Bison's offense won't be near as potent, assuming that Jordan Yance is still out with his concussion, so I'll also go Bisons by 10.
And it'll be unanimous on this one. I'll take the Bisons as well by 14 in a high-scoring football game. We'll skip over the Husky game for a minute here, and we'll move to the Saturday evening game. UBC is in Calgary. Tom?
Dinos want that home field through the playoffs, and they'll take one step closer to it with a win here. Dinos by 20.
Dallas?
Yeah, sorry, UBC, you're not beating Calgary this week. So I'll take them by, let's go 30.
All right, that's pretty generous. Calgary over UBC, I got them by 17 in this one. And finally, Saturday afternoon, 1:30 at Griffiths in Saskatoon. It's the Huskies hosting Alberta. Tom?
We'll all be in the stands cheering our hearts out, none louder than myself, but it's hard to pick the Huskies after that performance we saw last week. I want, again, prove me wrong, Dogs, but I got to go with the Bears by 7.
Bears by 7. Dallas?
I'm a little bit more optimistic. I think that the Huskies will play well at home. They'll be in. It'll be the first game in the afternoon, on Saturday afternoon, in quite a while, and so hopefully they'll play like they did when they played regularly on Saturday afternoons. So I'm going to take the Dogs by 3.
Oh, by 3. I got a close one, too. I got the Huskies in this one. Huskies by 6. It'll be a real high-scoring game, I think. I think the Huskies' offense will get going, but so will Alberta's offense. So a 6-point game. It's going to be a tight one. Final thoughts before we head into the weekend, Tom?
I want to see that team, pardon me, that we saw in week 1 against Manitoba. And if we do, then I have no worries about the Huskies coming out on top.
Dallas?
Yeah, I think definitely they should get a win this weekend because Alberta rather is a far different team on the road than they are at home. So I think that it'll be a shootout, but I think again the Huskies will come away with that big W.
All right, some positives, you're right, to take out of this one. A 4-2 record, and we've seen how good this team can be as we get set for the Huskies to take on Alberta. And again, Saturday afternoon, 1:30. The featured game on the network on Shaw will be Saturday afternoon as Manitoba in Regina, taking on the Rams at 1:30. On behalf of the Outsiders, Tom and Dallas, and our technical team, I'm Darren DuPont. Thanks for watching Pizza Hut, Huskies All Access.